Our Patreon film this week was Mad Max Fury Road, the 2015 film. I can't remember who picked it. Do you guys remember who picked it?
I don't remember who picked it either.
Unlucky. We'll never know.
I do believe that it was recommended by our wonderful patron.
I want to say it was Jacob Edwards.
I was about to say Jacob Edwards, yeah. Thank you very much, Jacob Edwards, for recommending Mad Max Fury Road. It was a pretty A-plus movie, as one of the Guapish members would put it. As for us other ones, we might not be so kind. Tanner, how'd you feel about Mad Max Fury Road?
Is that you prompting me to do the plot?
Yeah.
Okay.
How'd you feel about the plot of Mad Max Fury Road, which you're about to summarize for us?
Mad Max Fury Road. It starts up kind of like the other Mad Max, where Mad Max is narrating, and I don't remember what he says, but this was much better than the other narration, because this one was much shorter. And, you know, Max, he's out there, he's surviving, he's eating, he's driving, his car gets blown up immediately, again, because that's just the theme of Mad Max, I guess. He's not allowed to have his cool car. He has the coolest car ever, but he's not allowed to drive it. So he gets taken back to this big fucking fortress that's all up in these cliff things, and they got tons of water there. And he's turned into a blood bag, which means he's like a forced blood donor, because he's type O negative, which means he's a universal donor. Mm-hmm. This world is run by... Fuck, what's his fuck? I don't even remember his name. What's the main bad guy's name?
Joe.
Immortan Joe, that's right. It's run by this fucking mutant freak, because he controls the water, so he has all these people worshipping him, and he's got his war boys, which are these young men who are all painted white, or maybe are white? It's unclear.
Painted.
I feel like we see them like get wet and like kind of washed occasionally, and it never comes off. I think they might be white.
Oh.
But I don't know. Anyway... they send out their war rig to go get some fuel from Gastown. The war rig is driven by our arguably main character, Imperator Furiosa, which is a lady with a shaved head and a big mechanical arm. Nico, was she hot?
No.
Okay. She's driving the war rig down, and then she decides, oh, we're going to take a shortcut. And what we find out is that she has captured the wives of Immortan Joe and is trying to bring them to freedom, because they're like being forced by him to be breeding slaves, because he's trying to create, like, I believe what he's trying to do is create humans who aren't horrifically mutated or something.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
Anyway, they don't want to do that anymore, so she's taking them away, and they're driving, and then the war boys get sent out to catch her, and there's a big fight, and they go in this big dust storm, and it's fucking crazy. And then the forces of Immortan Joe, Gastown, and the Bullet Farm all team up, and they're gonna go get these ladies back. And they're running away for a while, and then eventually they meet these old people, and the old people are like, there kind of isn't, like... The place you're trying to go to kind of doesn't exist. They're like, fuck. And so they turn around and they're going to kill Immortan Joe and take back over his place. And so they do that, and there's a big car chase, Mad Max battle. And then they make it back and they take over things, and I guess everything's all good now. The end. I have a feeling.
Next movie.
Yeah, I have a feeling things are not all good given the state of things, but whatever. They killed the bad people, so that's something at least.
Yeah, that's a win somehow. Except for the little baby man. They haven't killed him yet.
I thought those like little kids were gonna like throw him over the edge or something.
That's what Jackson I thought too.
Yeah, like they were giving him a look like they're like, oh, the wings of change are here.
Time to get rid of this dude.
But yeah, that is Mad Max Fury Road. Now, this movie, it is an action movie in the purest sense of the word. They do 100%. Not care. This
is the most action-y action movie that we have ever seen on the podcast so far.
Yeah, they truly do not care about like having an intricate or even particularly interesting plot or characters or settings. Really, they're just like, fucking listen. It's about cars, it's about crazy people, and they're gonna fuck each other up.
But despite that, I still think they did it really well,
Yeah, of course. Yeah, it's
like,
fucking
especially
great.
just, like, the setting of the desert, which you'd think is, like, fucking... It would be really boring after quite a while of just, like, nonstop action in a fucking desert. But they managed to do some crazy stuff with it. Like, that big old dust storm is insane. They were able to, like, vary up the environments quite a bit, like, when it starts raining in that swampy area and shit like that, I'm a big fan of what they were able to do with this, despite, like, it seeming like a fairly limited area.
I think a small little like psychological trick they do is that they kind of change the color grading in different sections of the desert. So even if it is still like, a desert, it kind of fools your brain almost into looking at different, because it's like, oh, this area is a bit more brown and this area is a bit more orange and this area is a bit more yellow.
Yeah.
It's like, okay, we are going to different locations.
Yeah, it's giving you some sort of sense of progression, so it's not just seeming like it's the same environment at all times. Mm-hmm. Like nothing's actually happening.
Right.
Now, as for the characters themselves, though, so Jackson had some big complaints about our main boy Mad Max, is that correct?
Big complaints. I mean, they just don't flesh him out at all, really. We know he has some past trauma, and that's basically it. Other than that, he's just kind of some fucking stoic guy that kind of acts autistic. That was my takeaway of him. And then he just fucking like dips when he could have, like lived in paradise instead of, just wandering some hellscape.
Yeah,
he was weird.
I was just gonna say, Max's entire deal now is essentially he's just a survivor who kind of exists to just witness things happening.
Witness?
Witness?
But yeah, that's definitely correct, Tanner. Yeah, it definitely seems like Max's role, like really even in the previous movie that we watched, Desert Storm, whatever the fuck it was called, Road to Fury, some bullshit that wasn't very good.
Storm. I would love to see the sequel of this be titled Mad Max Desert Storm. That'd be so funny.
Even in the previous Mad Max movie that we watched, he wasn't like really a fleshed out character whatsoever there either. It really does seem as though Max is more so like kind of just like a vehicle for us to explore this world through,
Yeah, he's basically just like there to have an excuse for the audience to be watching this happening.
Yeah. But I don't think it's particularly a super bad thing at all, since we do still get some like pretty decent characters in the form of like, Furiosa and stuff like that.
Yeah, I'm indifferent to it in the end.
That's pretty funny. My only last thing with Max is he 1,000% should have died from that first crash.
The big ass explosion.
No fucking way. Yeah. But yeah, sure. Let's talk about Furiosa.
I don't want to. I think she's lame and stupid. I don't like her bald ass head.
Anyways, I think Furiosa is just okay.
That's basically what I was saying as well. Yeah, I don't really care about her all that much.
If I had to have a problem, it's that just based on her characterization, I don't know if I believe she'd like risk her life to save these women.
Yeah, I can definitely understand that as well. We don't really get much in the way of like why she's really bothering to do all of this to begin with.
Yeah, and she's like really brutal and untrusting all of the time throughout it. So
yeah,
we kind of just have to take it at face value. Like, listen, she's a woman too.
She warms up to Max really quickly too.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which was weird to me because he's still just like some random fucking dude that could like was threatening them at gunpoint, and then suddenly when they're trying to go through the past, now they're chill.
Well, see, that's so strange because like I feel like the implication is, oh, she took a liking to these women because she's a woman or something, and then also we're like, oh, okay, she warmed up to Max quickly because they're both like hard ass survivors, but like I feel like if she's doing one, she's not gonna necessarily be inclined to do the other,
Yeah.
Nico, which of the wives were your favorite?
Golly, dude. It's kind of tough. I liked the blonde one who wasn't pregnant. I thought that she was pretty cute.
Okay, the one with the far apart eyes?
Maybe, I don't fucking know. I didn't notice anything like that. I also like the redhead, though, but like not when she had her goggles on and shit. She looked like a completely different character whenever that happened, and Jackson got real confused of where the fuck she came from.
Yeah, pretty much like, who the fuck's this chick? And then we're like, oh, it's this one we already knew.
That's funny.
Yeah, unfortunately, my favorite is the one that got ran over, but we can't all be winners.
Womp womp.
Yeah, the pregnant one. Jackson has a type.
Gotcha.
If she wasn't pregnant, she would have been a 10 out of 10.
I guess I'd probably go, either the redhead or Zoe Kravitz.
Who?
The black one.
That's what I assumed.
The Catwoman from the new Batman.
Oh.
Have you seen the new Batman?
No.
Interesting. Okay.
I could see her as a Catwoman, though.
Yeah. How do we feel about our antagonists?
Fucking Joe.
Actually, wait. Let's finish off with our protagonist. How'd you guys like Nox?
Who?
The war boy.
Oh yeah, I thought that he was neat.
Yeah.
I think him kind of turning to their side was weird, and just kind of came out of nowhere.
I find him probably the most compelling character in terms of an actual character arc in this movie.
I definitely do agree, but at the same time I do kind of feel like him just being crumpled up on the ground, and then one of these girls sent a couple nice things to him, being pretty strange. Also the fact that she was even talking to him to begin with and not immediately being like, holy fuck, there's one of them on board, we need to murder him now.
Yeah, right? They're all very accepting and chill.
Well, I think they all kind of understand that he was just as brainwashed as they were.
But how do they know that he's not brainwashed anymore? Why would you even go through the effort of approaching him like that?
I think they were just kind of believing that they could make him see the errors of his ways, or stop believing in Immortan Joe.
Why would they risk that?
I don't know. They're women.
Fair enough.
Honestly.
But I definitely did like his character arc the most out of anyone else in this film, since he actually really gets one, I guess. His death, when he says "witness me," putting that phrase into a whole new context, I think it was really sweet. I was a big fan of that. The follow-up explosion I wasn't as big of a fan of, which goes into a couple of my complaints that I have. But other than that, I really enjoyed it.
You didn't like what did you not? Did you not like how it slow-mode and had the fucking wheel come at us in 3D?
Yeah, that gross-ass Spy Kids 3D looking ass wheel. Yeah, I wasn't a big fan of that. Yeah, so, understandably, this is a really long movie. It uses some pretty extensive effects, so not everything is going to look super great, but at the same time, there are definitely a few things here and there that really took me out of it in terms of the effects. One of the other big parts was very early on in the movie, we see fucking Joe talking to all his little subjects. Pretty much every shot of him there did not look very good at all. I think it might have just been the light in his hair or something, but it just looked really bad and out of place.
Speaking of Immortan Joe,
I hated him. He's a big fat gross guy. Ew.
Yeah. So an effective antagonist, you would say.
Exactly.
Honestly,
I gotta say, one thing that I was a big fan of in this movie is that they just got some real fucking freaks everywhere in it.
Mm-hmm.
I really liked that. They really made this feel like a gross post-apocalyptic world that I would not want to be a part of.
Right. What were you gonna say, Jackson?
Dude, I was gonna say I think it's bullshit he didn't die in the first car crash.
Fair enough.
That's my only thing.
Tanner, what do you think the casting was like for this movie? Trying to find those freaks.
I can only assume that there's a specific agent for disabled actors.
Yeah.
And that guy was just fucking rolling in it when they made this movie.
Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that these types of actors really come up super often in need.
Yeah. They're actually 50% of the online posts asking for a sequel to this movie.
They just want to get paid again. Yeah, I wouldn't imagine that little baby dude is really really super active generally.
What's funny is I feel like I've seen him before though.
Really?
I feel like I recognize him, but I don't know where from or how.
Little known fact, that's actually Peter Dinklage.
What? That's crazy.
Yeah.
I like the aesthetic of our villains, where it's all all the white and whatever. Immortan Joe is all white. The fucking war boys are ghastly painted white. I thought that looked really good, especially since a lot of the scenes that they're then set in are colored in such an I don't know, expressive way, I suppose.
Yeah, it just really makes them stand out a lot more.
Yeah, I do think that's a pretty big credit because like the action scenes in a lot of places have like a lot of moving parts, but it's pretty easy to keep track of everything.
Yeah, definitely.
Do you guys have a favorite action scene from this?
Not particularly. One that does stand out in my mind, though, is just like those parts where they have like them fucking big old poles on the cars and shit like that. We just have like dudes swinging off of them. I thought those was pretty sweet.
That was pretty cool. I kind of like the dirt bike part, where it's like this clearly like very small, scrappy band of not raiders, but like bandits, and they're like, okay, listen, we have vehicles that are like very specifically adapted for this terrain, and this is where we're just gonna hang out.
I did think it was fucking crazy during that part though, where the dude fucking gets onto the car and is like, "What are you doing? We had a deal," even though like his men were the ones who fucking shot at them and caused them to run away. That was real wacky. All right, in terms of other things, boys, do we have any other notes for Mad Max?
Were those guys in the spiky cars? Did those seem like fucking did they sound like Russian to you?
I didn't really take particular note of it, no.
Gotcha.
Alright, cool. And with that, we are going to be moving on to our ratings here, boys. So, Dylan gave this movie an A+. An A+. Does that sound about right to y'all?
In terms of like a Dylan ranking? Or
no,
just
in terms of a rating in general. How does that feel to you guys?
I'm giving it an A- myself, so it's relatively on par.
Oh, and I'm going to be giving it an A, so it sounds like we're all pretty lined up there pretty well. Now, Tanner, you're going to be giving this movie an S+, is that correct?
No, I'm giving it an S-.
Okay.
Oh, I do have one other negative to throw in there to further explain why it's a minus and not higher for me. Aside from, like, the rock stuff, I feel like the music is unbelievably generic in this film.
That's fair enough. I could see it. And with that, Jackson, what rating is this film getting?
That puts that an A+.
All right.
That's a solid enough rating for Fury Road, I'd say.
Mm-hmm.